Hey everybody, I feel a little better. I have the van back. Today I'm going to be doing a lot of work on that van as soon as daylight hits and have this thing hopefully ready to go in the next day or two and finally take off on this long trip. But in the meantime, there's something I want to discuss with you today, and that is why you may want to think about doing the things and seeing the places you really want to see now, as soon as possible. Okay, when it comes to traveling and things we want to see and things that maybe have been on our bucket list, sometimes for years, sometimes for decades, sometimes before we ever heard the term bucket list, we tend to just assume that everything will be the way it is now for us. It's going to be that way forever. It's going to be the way it's always been. But in traveling, that doesn't always happen. And that goes for traveling inside the United States and traveling outside the United States. And I'm going to give you some examples of things that people I'm sure wanted to do, some that I wanted to do, that you can no longer do. And here's some of those examples. First of all, there's this thing called the Taj Mahal that we all grew up with and grew up hearing about. You used to be able to go and tour the Taj Mahal. You cannot do that anymore. If that is on your particular list of things that you wanted to do, you can go to it and you can look at it from the outside, but you can no longer go in it. That changed about 10 years ago. So if seeing that and experiencing that was something that was on your list, you're out of luck. The second thing is Stonehenge. You used to be able to go right to Stonehenge, right up to it, right up to the rocks and experience it. As of a few years ago, you can't do that anymore. You get to see it from roped off, sectioned off, the length of a couple of football fields away from it. That would be a real disappointment if you didn't know that and you spent the money to go to Europe to see this and find out you can no longer get to it, you can no longer touch it, you can no longer get near it. You're going to need a telephoto lens just to get a good picture of it. What got me thinking about this was there's this beautiful place in Puerto Rico that, thanks to the earthquake the other day, this was a big tourist destination, and this is what it looks like now. Thanks to that earthquake, that tourist destination is gone. G-O-N-E, gone. Now, I'm talking about these things in different parts of the world, and you may be thinking, hey, Kevin, I'm not really, a world traveler. I only do this in the United States. Well, a lot of things in the United States change too. And one of the big draws and things that everybody seems to be attracted to is the Route 66 stuff. And it changes constantly. The same thing with the Lincoln Highway that runs a little further north in the United States. It changes constantly. There are things on those roads that disappear every single year. And I know one of the places that we went to on Route 66 had changed completely from what another person had done on YouTube 6 months before that, due to it being vandalized a few years back. So what you used to see in videos, if you were watching travel videos 2, 3, and 4 years ago, it's not there anymore. Another one of the things in the last few months on Route 66, there was this great bridge in Oklahoma, and it was the only bridge that had a drive-across bridge that had a walkway sectioned off in each direction on either side. And brilliantly, the state of Oklahoma decided they didn't want to deal with it. They didn't want to be responsible for it when they put a new bridge in, so they just ripped the old one out, and it's no longer there. And this was a bridge that had been there since the 1930s. And one of the things that you wanted to see and experience and would read about in all the guidebooks and things, luckily we did get to see that, go across that. Again, that was a year and a half ago, whatever. It's no longer there. Going back through here on this trip, I should be going through that area again if I take the route that I think I'm going to take. And sure enough, that's going to be one less of those iconic landmarks that I'm going to get to see and experience. Again, it's going to be sad that it's not there. There are things in the Northeast I know that have changed in the last few years due to different weather patterns and things that were just gone. There's things in the Redwood forest out in the Pacific Northwest area in Northern California that in the last few years have changed. Just iconic things that disappear. So if these are things that are important to you, the point I'm trying to make is you can't count on the fact that these things are going to be there for you to experience 10 years or 20 years maybe down the road. Or as you're thinking of, this is what I'll do when I retire. And I know not everybody is going to be able to go and travel full time. I have obligations. I'm not to that point yet. Maybe even not to the point that I've been lucky enough to be able to go for a month at a time here and there. But still yet, you need to start working these things in to travel plans and yearly plans and vacation plans or weekend trips or what have you, if they're important to you. Because I know before the last couple of years, my assumption was just things would always be like they were, like I saw in pictures when I was a kid. And it's just not that way anymore. There's things in national parks. There's Petrified Forest National Park in Arizona has had things over the years, formations that due to weather, erosion, these things have collapsed and fallen. So the only way you're ever going to see them is to buy a 50-year-old postcard because it's not there anymore. It happens everywhere. So if you're looking for incentive to start traveling and start exploring this great country of ours, this would be it, is to always remind yourself that nothing lasts forever. Even though it's been there for thousands of years, it may be gone next year. So always keep that in mind, and the things that are really, really, really important to you, you might want to move up your timeline a little bit with things like that. Now, I promise you there's van videos coming. There's going to be van videos coming on a bunch of topics. Now that I have this thing out of the garage and we start traveling again, and I'm going to be showing different how-tos and how to deal with a lot of this winter stuff. And you could be thinking, hey man, if you're going south, you really don't have to deal with this winter stuff. Trust me, no matter where you go in this country, it snows in Texas, it snows in Arizona, even southern Arizona. It snows in Florida, and there's nights that are going to hit below freezing anywhere in this country that you go to. No matter how far south you go, maybe unless you go all the way to the Florida Keys. And I would say they even hit a freezing night every once in a while. So this cold weather stuff is just something we're going to have to deal with. You're going to get to experience some of it with me on this trip. And in addition to being on the warmer stuff, during this trip, I plan on turning back into the north in some really cold areas while it's still wintertime, because there's some wintertime stuff I want to experience and want you guys to experience with me. So that's the basic plan. More stuff coming soon. If you're wondering what to watch next, look down in the description, look down in the comment section. You'll see links to recent videos and other videos that may interest you. and we'll see you soon.